Laura here. I'm back. So I'm here to start a new reading vlog. This is my last full week of work because then we have a week off for spring break. Spring break is super early this year, which is actually really exciting because I love the month of April. The month of April is when spring starts to come, but it's also will probably be our longest month teaching because it's the one month we don't have any days off, as of right now anyway. But yeah, so I just finished the Owl Crate readathon. I wound up finishing 3 books in that readathon, and I'm also at the end of a quarter, like reading wise. Like it's like the first quarter is about to end at the end of March, so I have kind of coupled through all of my various lists and the books I've had on my TBR for a while. So that's kind of what these books that I sort of pulled from. I have 5 physical reads. I don't think I'm going to read them all, but these are the books I'm pulling from, and we'll talk through the first book that I'm going to read, and just any general plans this week. So one of the books I would love to tackle is The Last Equation by Charlize Thorne and The Last Equation by Stuart Gibbs. This was a book that I pulled from my shelf along with another one in this, so I really hope to tackle this. This is also a middle grade read, and it is middle grade March. So I read a couple of middle grade books this week, and I would love to tackle this one as well. And I haven't read Stuart Gibbs' other one, but this, if I remember correctly, has to do with like Albert Einstein, and that's sort of cool. So I hope that I get to read this. It's been a bit. I got this like a couple of years ago at one of the cons I went to, and the sequel's actually already out. But if I like it, I will probably pick up the second book. So yeah, this is one of the first that's on my TBR. Another one that is on my TBR is Wings of Ebony by J.L. And this is a God-themed novel. Rue's family, her mother's murdered and she's forced to live in a city where gods wield power. Rue's existence is a crime. And I think she has to solve like a murder mystery, I think. I don't know much about this one, but this one I've heard some really good things about. So it is high on my list. Another one that I'm going to be pulling from is Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger. This one was pulled from that shelf as well, and I've had this book for so long. I actually have a lot of books in this series, like in my shed, but if I like this, I will probably read the other books in the series as well. But yeah, the last time I tried to read a Regency flicked with a mystery, it didn't really turn out that great, and I wound up DNFing it. So hopefully this one is a bit more successful. And then we also have Smash It by Francine Simone, and this is a contemporary, and it's been a bit since I've read a contemporary, and I keep saying that it's like an Ophelia retelling. I don't know if I'm right in that assumption, but this is one that I am really excited to read. So these are the books that are also on my TBR. So the books that I'm going to start with is The Potion Diaries Going Viral. This is the final book in that series, by Amy Elwin. And it has to do with a princess and its potions, and it's the last book of the series. But I think if I remember correctly, the last book ended off at like a little bit of a cliffhanger with a disease, I think. Yeah, with the Gregorian illness that is kind of taking over her best friend's life, and she has to sort of find a cure. So this is the one I'm going to start with, which I'm really excited about. I'm also listening to To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. And that's the one that I'm focusing my listening on. And then once I finish with that book, I'll kind of pick something else to focus on. I have to admit, I've been really watching Big Bang Theory all weekend. It's just a really, really fun show, and it's very, very lighthearted. And it's been a bit since I've seen the whole show. But I also am in the middle of watching The Impossible with Tom Holland, which is one of my favorite movies that he is, other than his superhero movies. And the new Catherine McPhee show on Netflix. I might watch a couple of episodes tonight. And then next weekend when I'm off, I'm going to tackle all of the CW shows that I haven't watched. But I'm going to try to give that book like a couple of chapters and try to read a little bit more tonight. And hopefully I will have a little bit of a better time. I've been reading such big books, I feel like I haven't been reading a lot of physical books because I've been reading very, very big books, but all these books are not that long, so hopefully I'll have a little bit of an easier reading week. But I will check in with you guys when I read a little bit of The Potion Diaries Going Viral. Bye, guys. Lori here. I'm back. It's about 8:11. I did wind up reading about 45 pages, so about 50 pages in Going Viral. It's been a bit since I read book 2, but the end of book 2 ended with basically a character is revealed that is basically a bad guy. No one believes her. It's her best friend, and she is an alchemist, so she's sort of kind of dealing with that. You also follow 2 point of views in this book. So far, you may get more, but you follow Sam's point of view. She, and then you follow Princess Evelyn, who is the one that is basically infected with gray fever. And her husband is the person that has been the villain, but no one believes Sam in the current storyline that he is bad and he is a villain. So she has decided to make a documentary about her life, to sort of give her a platform and to sort of show people that this guy really is evil. But she's also isolated from her best friend. But yeah, it's just a fun read. I really like the first 2 books in the series. I read them a couple of years ago, and I just never get around to reading the 3rd one. So I will update you guys tomorrow when I read a little bit more, probably after my commute, and let you know if I was able to finish To Sir Philip with Love. But overall, I'm really liking it. Definitely a 3rd book in the series. I'm not going to talk too much spoilers, but I do really recommend Potion Diaries book 1 because it was a very, very fun read. Definitely fantasy light and perfect for the spring. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Laura here. I'm back. So by the time when I stopped filming from now, a lot has changed. One of my kids in one of my classes tested positive for COVID-19, so I am quarantining until Friday. I have to also go get a COVID test, which means I'm working from home, which was not the plan of attack this week at all. But safety's sake, I am fully vaccinated, but just because that doesn't really mean anything. So working from home now, have to organize my life a little bit. But yeah, so I feel like I'm back to where I was a couple of months ago. But yeah, so I will, and I actually have like Monday's my easier day. I have 2 periods off in a row in the morning. So I might actually just get a bunch of reading done if I'm able. I know my coworkers are gonna like, where am I? Because I'm always floating around the building. But yeah, so I am going to go do some prep stuff. I have to schedule a COVID test because that's what they want us to do so we can come back. We also do have a week off next week, so this is kind of a mini commuting break at least. But I'm going to go organize myself, schedule all the stuff I have to, and I will update you guys when I start reading Going Viral. I read a little bit of it last night, and then I got a little bit tired. But I am going to make some listening progress on To Sir Philip with Love. I have about like an hour left in it, and I'm losing my commuting time, so I want to make it up and listening in some other way. So talk to you guys when I start reading. Bye guys. Here, just checking back in. It's about 5:30. I did wind up teaching from home all day because I was quarantined. I had been exposed. I got my rapid test. I'm so far negative, which is a good sign. And then we got news that the school's shut because more people have tested positive, which is just the nature of the beast. So I have to stay home until Friday. We're unsure if they're going to let us open before break or they may let us open after break. We don't know, but it's a little bit insanity because, I was already supposed to stay home and now I can go back Friday, but the school may not even be open. But when I was waiting to get my COVID results, or get my tested, I did want to reading a little bit more of Going Viral. I'm really liking this book. I don't know when this book came out. Let me see when this book came out. It's probably like a couple of years ago. Okay, it came out in like 2017, so it didn't come out that long ago, but like, it just screams to me like an LA Candy, like Lauren Conrad reality TV show element, also mixed with her trying to find out what's wrong with her best friend, and her best friend is the princess, so you follow Sam's point of view, and then you also follow Evelyn's point of view, and they're in very, very different spots, and Evelyn is basically trapped in her nightmares because she has been taken over by this Gregorian plague, and then Sam has been cut off from her best friend, but is trying to figure out what's wrong with her. So she has traveled. But there's also like a reality TV show element, which makes me think of like LA Candy, but I'm really enjoying this. I love books that have super short chapters because I read them very, very quickly. I also did wind up finishing To Sir Philip with Love by Juliet Quinn, which is the audiobook that I listened to. I really, really like that one. Quite cute, quite adorable. And then I picked up Bitter Blue by Christian Kishore, which is the third book in that series. I like it. I think I'm enjoying listening to it a little bit more. I think I'm going to take my audiobook for a walk tomorrow when I come home. Well, when I'm home from work, but I'm probably going to take it for a walk because I need to focus on that audiobook a little bit more. So I might actually pop in the new Julia Quinn one as I'm working because I don't have to focus on those as much. But yeah, I'm going to go. I just got my second Owl Crate box. So I'm going to go do part of my unboxing video, and then I'm probably just going to sit down and read. I really didn't sleep that good last night because I was so jarred of like not having to wake up early. It made me sleep worse. It doesn't make any logical sense. I know, but my body sometimes doesn't pay attention. So I'm going to go do my unboxing, and then I will check in with you guys when I get up to page like 150 and give you guys my thoughts. Bye. Lori here, just checking back in. It's about 7:46. I did wind up getting up to page exactly 150 in Going Viral. This book is so interesting. I really remember enjoying the first two, but this book has so many elements that I like. I like how it has an adventure. I like how there's dual point of views. There also is a very strong LGBTQ element to this book that I forgot about or wasn't really the focus of the other book. I can't honestly remember if the other books were told from Evelyn's point of view as well. I know book one definitely wasn't. But I am liking that, and it's just such a fun read. I really can't wait to see where this book goes. It also is diving in a little bit more into Sam's past, which was very prevalent in the other books, but it's sort of prevalent in sort of a different way. They also did change location, and I just think it's great. So I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to try to read about 50 more pages, and then I'll give you guys another update. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm back. It's about 5:04. I did wind up coming home. I mean, not coming home. I was already home because I'm under quarantine because I was exposed to some people in my job, but now my whole school's closed for another day, which I think is just going to lead us to being closed until after break, which is sort of what I expected anyway. But I did want to pop in and say that I did wind up getting up to page 242 in Going Viral. I really am liking this book quite a bit. You could definitely tell that it was written in like a couple of years ago because it's very in with like reality TV, and then there's also like, posting and like going viral. There's also a really interesting dynamic like a culture war that's almost happening between the talented people and the ordinary people, which I find fascinating. I really am liking getting both Samantha and Evelyn's point of view. I don't recall that was a thing in the first two books in the series. I just really like Sam as a character, and this book has definitely gone in a direction I wasn't necessarily expecting, but I love the world so much. So I'm going to read a little bit, and when I get up to page 300, I will give you guys another update. My goal is to finish this book today and catch up on Big Bang Theory, which is my lifelong dream because I'm so close to the end of that series. So yeah, I'm going to read a little bit more, and when I get up to page 300, I'll give you guys an update. Bye. Back. It's about 6 o'clock. I did want to reading about page 300 in Going Viral. Really liking this book. I did want to mention that this book does have a plague element to it. It started at the end of the last book, but it's very, very prominent in this book, and they do talk about cures and stuff, so if you are not in the mood to read about pandemics in your literature, this might not be the read for you. It's definitely the world is very, very lighthearted, but it does deal with some hard issues about that, and there is a magic component, but there is a plague in this book, so I just want you to note that. But I'm right at the end. A plot twist was included that I really like in YA books, so I was happy about that. But yeah, I'm gonna read the last like 30 pages of this book, and then I will give you guys my final thoughts, and then I'm gonna pick what I'm gonna read next. So talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Here I'm back. I did wind up doing a few things in the interim, but I wound up finishing up the Potion Diaries Going Viral by Amy Allward. I've really overall wound up enjoying this series. I will do some trigger warnings for this. It does deal with like basically a magical pandemic, so just sort of know that going into it. The first two books don't really deal with those hard issues, but it definitely is a lighter fantasy series. I really do like the world and the characters. It would be definitely a series that I'd probably re-listen to again in the future because I just thought it was super fun. This book was very much focused on Sam, but you did also get the princess's point of view, which I really liked. There was also a very, very strong LGBTQ storyline in here, which I also really liked. But the elements of the book, like the pacing and the adventure elements, were super fun. I just really, really liked it. So happy that I finally picked it up. I've had this book on my shelf for a while. But yeah, I really, really like this one a lot, and I wound up giving this one 4 stars for review. So the next book I'm going to pick up is Smash It by Christine Simone. Again, this is another really, really short read. I think it's only like 350 pages. So I'm going to start this. I don't know much. I know this is about a girl named Liv, and she makes a list that she's gonna smash her junior year, and it's like, be bold, do things that scare me, learn to take a compliment, stand out instead of back, go on a date, and stop cruising and move on. I know Francine Simone is a YouTuber or a booktuber, and I love books that have lists. One of my favorite contemporary novels of all time is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. That has a list, so I'm gonna dive into this one. It's been a bit since I've read a contemporary book. Ooh, it has a pink page. It has a pink hardback. So yeah, I'm gonna start this and see how much progress I can make. I am gonna put on Big Bang Theory sort of as background noise. But yeah, I'm really excited to pick up my second book. Again, I'm not. My school is too closed. I'm still quarantining, so there's a possibility I'm gonna go back Friday, but I'm starting to think that that's a little bit unlikely. But I am gonna read a little bit more of this, and when I get about 50 pages in, I'll give you guys an update. Bye. Right here, it's about 8:07. I did want to say that I did want to reading the first 31 pages of Smash It. I was right, by the way. This is this is a retelling, or it has a retelling element of Othello. I knew it did. I thought I was going crazy, but it does have an element. But you basically follow this girl named Liv. It takes place in Florida. I don't think I've ever read a book that takes place in Florida before, but she is, she's in love with her best friend. She's not a very, very confident person, and she's sort of being told to kind of break out of her comfort zones a little bit. She's involved in the music scene. She works at Disney, which I think is so fun. But she has dreams to be in a musical, and she's going to sort of push herself out of a comfort zone and try out for a musical. I love books about musicals. The last one I read that really was a standout to me was Always Never Yours, which was a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and it was by Emily Wemberly and Austin Sigmund Broga. And then back in the day, I also read Foolish Heart by Emma Mills that had another element, but this is really, really fun. I read about 30 pages of it. Again, I'm reading it super quick. I also love the representation. It is about an African-American lead, which I think is amazing. It also has plus-size representation, and her relationship with her mother is a little bit hard to read sometimes because she's very, very hard on Liv, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm really happy that I picked it up. It's been a bit since I read a contemporary, and I like that it has a theater element. For those that don't know, I am a theater teacher, and I have been unable to put up a successful show since my first year of teaching due to COVID and this weird virtual remote stuff. So I'm going to check in with you guys tomorrow, probably at the end of work. If I read a little bit more like during work, I've been doing that a little bit more than when I do in my building because I left all my stuff at school that like I'm supposed to be prepping for next year because I didn't think we were going to get shut down like in the middle of a week. So everything's at my school. So I'm going to kind of enjoy my reading time when I have it. I also am going tomorrow. I'm going to continue reading Bitter Blue by Kristen Kishore. I think I might restart that audiobook a little bit because when I was first listening to it, I was a little bit distracted. But yeah, that's the plan. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. Here, I'm back. It is about 3 o'clock. I did actually wind up working out earlier because I am still working from home, and I went for a bike ride. I actually wound up listening to a little bit more of Bitter Blue. I actually restarted that audiobook, which I'm really happy that I redid. I re-listened to it because I was really confused. I have said before that I'm struggling a little bit with that series, but I really do like Bitter Blue as a character. I met her in Graceling, and I like just seeing her again. But I did want to say that I did wind up reading about 55 pages in Smash It by Christina Simone. I really like Olivia as a character. She is sort of making her own list to kind of break out of her comfort zone a little bit, and her first goal is to sort of be involved in a musical to play Othello, which as a theater teacher, I love seeing representation of theater in books because I think it doesn't happen nearly enough. But I also like her point of view. There is a lot of language in here. I'll just preface that by saying it like, just language, and they do talk about sex like a lot, but I do think it's effective. I do think it's like not grandiose thing, but it's also like a good story. So I really am liking it. I think her point of view is really interesting. I like that it's set in Florida. I like that she works at Disney World or Universal Studios. I've never really read a book with a setting like that, so really enjoying it. I'm going to read another 50 pages and then I'll give you guys another update. But I did wind up going for a bike ride today. That was my first bike ride in about maybe like 4 months. So my legs will probably be a little bit sore tomorrow. I'm also waiting to hear if we are going back to work on Friday. That's what I've heard. But things keep changing with case counts in my school. So we will see. But I'm going to read a little bit more, watch a little bit Big Bang Theory, and then I'll give you guys another update. Bye. Laurie here, just checking back in. It's almost 6 o'clock. I did wind up reading about 100 pages in Smash It by Francine Simone. I really am liking this book quite a bit. It definitely is one of those reads that really makes you think. I've read quite a few books that are just like sort of outside of my life experience, and I always really enjoy them because they sort of make me look at my life a little bit different. But I'm finding a lot of ways to relate to Olivia in this book. Like, she's very, very shy. She's very, very quiet. If you ever meet me in real life, that's probably my personality until you get to know me really well, which is exactly how she is with her best friends. And she also has a lot of friends that are guys, and I've definitely had a lot of friends that are guys growing up. Definitely relate to that. She also has, she really likes her best friend as more than a friend, and he is just sort of oblivious to her. Totally accurate to my life. That really happened to me in high school, so... But there's also a theater element, and there's sort of breaking out of her comfort zone, which I'm really enjoying because that's something that I always have to push my students to do, to sort of break out of their comfort zones and try new things, even if it's something that they're super not comfortable with. And I kind of see that in Olivia. I really am hopeful that the theater elements become a little bit more pronounced in the second half of this book, because right now they're just sort of talking about it. But I do think all the relationships are really interesting, and she as a plus-size heroine is something that I'm really enjoying as well. The conversations she's having with her mother are a little bit hard to hear sometimes, but also they're really reflective, and I can find even some similarities in my relationship with my own mother. So really, really good. So I'm going to read a little bit more, keep watching Big Bang Theory, and then I'll give you guys an update. Bye. Laura here. I'm back. Sorry, my angle's a little bit weird. I just got done with teaching. I did go for a walk. It also was announced this week that my school is going to stay fully remote until after break. So just exactly what I figured. Today was actually the last day of my quarantine. So tomorrow I was supposed to go back to work, but cases are just not going in the direction they want. So they're being incredibly cautious, which I appreciate. So yeah, I did wind up going for a walk. It's a beautiful day outside, like so pretty. So I think I might just go for a bike ride and kind of go into the park and read for a little bit, because I do like doing that. It also is a nice de-stressor just to sort of get out of your own head a little bit. But yeah, that's sort of my plans. I also watched a little bit of WandaVision with the kids today because it's the last day before break. And normally if we're in a school building, those like last lessons are usually sort of fun. We sort of have game day or something. So I sort of gave them a little bit of a break today, and I think that they liked it. We watched a couple of my classes watched WandaVision, a couple of my classes watched The Mandalorian, and then 2 are actually in test prep, which they're the classes that I see the least. Like, I only see them 2 times a week for class, so they're a little bit behind all my other classes. But I also didn't want to like start a totally new unit, because with a week off, they'll forget everything, and I really don't blame them for that. So. But I am in the middle of Smash It. I'm about 178 pages into Smash It. Have to admit, I read another book like super recently. I'm trying to think of the name of it. There's a book I read super recently that it just felt really hard to be in that character's head. The Castle School for Troubled Girls was another book that like was really hard to be in that character's head because I related to that character so much. And there's definitely elements in Smash It that I feel really connected to Olivia. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember feeling that way in high school, like so badly. So being in her head is sometimes a little bit more challenging because I'm like, oh my God, I remember that moment like so well. And that's a little bit hard, but I am really liking it. There's definitely a lot of language in this book. I will say that. Just as a note, nothing like bad. But there is a lot of language. So just say that. It's also, there's some, terminologies that I sometimes am a little bit uncomfortable with. But other than that, I really like the character. She reminds me a lot of myself. And I think that's why I'm having it's taking me back to high school, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be that person anymore. So that's a little bit hard for the reading element, but I like the theater element a lot. I like her finding new friends. That was how I found new friends when I was in that age. I found new friends through theater, and this is a similar experience for her. So I'm gonna probably take a bike ride and read a little bit of Smash It, and then I'll check in with you guys. Bye. Here, I'm back. It's about 5:30. I did want to taking another bike ride and listening to a little bit more of Bitter Blue. This book is definitely my favorite in that series by far. I'm really enjoying it. I'm also really liking the listening experience. I really like the narrator. I read a couple of hours. I'm probably gonna try to tackle it the rest of this weekend because it is a pretty long audiobook. But I also did wind up getting up to page 200 in Smash It by Francine Simone. The theater element is becoming a little bit more involved in the story, which I'm really enjoying. She's also just dealing with a lot of stuff that teenagers do, and I'm really liking that. I also like that it's set in Florida. I don't think I wrote a book set in Florida, so they have a lot of Disney elements, and I'm so hoping I can go to Disney in the next year or so. The pandemic kind of derailed my plans a little bit, but it is on the agenda. But I'm just really liking it. I feel connected to her in a lot of ways. Like I feel like I can relate to her, especially related to like her high school years. So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a very, very fun read. But yeah, I hope to really tackle the rest of this tonight. If not, definitely tomorrow during work, because tomorrow's going to be like a break day, and I'm going to kind of let them watch what they want. If it's going to be WandaVision or The Mandalorian, they're going to sort of decide. But I'm going to read a little bit more, and when I get up to page like 250, I'll give you guys another chicken. Bye. Hey friends, Lori here. I'm back. I just want to do a quick update. I do wind up getting up to page 250 in Smash It by Francine Simone. The theater elements are definitely becoming a little bit more pronounced. I do like the character's journey a little bit, but I'm not the biggest fan of her writing style. It's just not capturing my attention, which is a little bit weird because I like the character a lot. I think her journey is a little bit interesting. It is hard to be in her head, as I said in a previous clip, because it reminds me of my own life a little bit. It sort of reminds me of when I would castle School for Troubled Girls. I had a similar reading experience. Like, I was intrigued, but it also hit me at like a weird level. So I am enjoying it. I don't love her writing style. It's not capturing me the way I was sort of expecting it to, especially to do it a character that I feel like I really relate to. So that's sort of my thoughts. But I'm going to go read another like 50 pages and then see what time it is. I would love to finish this book today, which is something that's going to happen. This week has been just like a weird week with my like waking up later and being in quarantine and all this other stuff. It's just been like a weird week. There's been a lot of construction going on in the house and a bunch of other stuff, so it's just been a little bit of a crazy week. But I do want to finish this book today. That is my goal. Tomorrow's my last day before break. Also, we're not going back to the building tomorrow, so I have a little bit more reading time, and most of my students tomorrow are watching videos, so we'll definitely finish this book tomorrow if I don't finish it tonight. But I'll talk to you guys in a little bit when I read about 50 more pages. Bye. Here I'm back. It's about 8:25. I did wind up getting up to page 300 and Smash It. So my thoughts on this book is it's basically, I would imagine, a retelling of Othello. Like, it has elements of that in it for sure. But I have a thing with the love triangles, especially in contemporary books, that I really, really struggle with, because I always think they're just not my favorite. I think what Francine Simone was trying to do was trying to represent typical high school life, which I understand. But again, when you do that, you sort of sometimes have your characters make some really, really poor decisions. And I think that that's sort of what was happening in this book. And I'm just struggling to connect to her a little bit. And I'm sort of feeling for everyone but the main character. And I'm sort of just seeing everyone else's point of view and not the main character's point of view, which is a little bit hard to feel sympathy for the main character, because overall I think the story is really interesting. I'm just not feeling super connected to the main character, especially the love triangle or the love whatever it is. There's a lot of men in this book that are sort of interested in Olivia, and I'm just struggling with that a little bit. I don't like when friendships get destroyed, and that's sort of what's happening in this book in a sense, and I'm just struggling with that a little bit. But I did say in the earlier part of this clip, there are moments of this book that really do ring true to my actual life, so I'm liking that, and I'm just struggling a little bit with the love triangle. But I am definitely going to finish this book tomorrow during work. I have about 60 pages left, and I'll definitely finish it. And then I'll probably wrap up this reading vlog and do like a weekend reading vlog. Because next week I'm going to do a themed reading vlog, and it's going to be a little bit different because I had the week off. So I will update you guys tomorrow morning, and maybe I will have made some progress on this in the interim. We will see. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. It's Laurie here. I'm back. I did wind up reading a little bit more of Smash. It is like almost 9:07 on Friday. I'm still working from home because of quarantine. Quarantine's over, but my school's still on quarantine, so complicated. But I did want to say that I wound up reading a little bit more of Smash It. There's a theater teacher in this book that did literally what I do every single show we have with my students. There's always a moment there comes that I just say, guys, you're not doing what I want you guys to do. The show's yours. We need to be better. And that's what this teacher just did, and I just admire that because I do that a lot with my students when we have a show. The romances in this book is very, very love triangle-y, and I've always struggled with love triangles, whether it's in fantasy, whether it's in especially dislike it in contemporary books. Strongly dislike it. I know this is supposed to be an Othello retelling. I'm just not feeling the romances like any of them. And it's hard because they're both friend to lovers, which is normally one of my favorite tropes. But I'm just not feeling the main character. Like, I like her. I think I feel really connected to her. But she's making some pretty bad choices. And I'm struggling with enjoying her as a character. So, I have to go teach. We're going to do some fun activities because it's the last day before break. And then I'll update you guys probably at the end of the day. And I should be done with Smash. And then I'll probably smash it. And I'll probably just wrap up this reading vlog. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Sorry, here. So I'm here to wrap up this reading vlog. I did actually wind up finishing reading 3 things this week, which this week turned out to be very different than I originally planned because I wasn't commuting the whole week, which was not the plan when I started this reading vlog. If you followed this whole reading vlog, my plans changed dramatically because I was into quarantine this whole week, which was not the plan of attack. But I did finish listening to earlier in the week. I finished reading To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. Really like that book. I'm really enjoying listening to those audiobooks. I'm hoping to tackle the other 3 before the summer so I could start a new Regency romance series. But really, really like that one was Eloise's book. It was a widow romance. There was kids. You did get to see the Bridgertons as well, and it was just a really, really fun read. I also finished reading Going Viral by Amy Alber. This is the final book. As of right now, they said that they were eventually going to make another one. In the Potion Diary series. This one was probably my favorite of this reading vlog. I really liked it. It was a fast read. I said it in my wrap up. It does have some pandemic elements in it, but it read to me like an LA Candy, sort of like looking at the side of being an influencer, but also there was harder issues in this book. There was class wars, there was a pandemic, there was a lot of stuff in here, and it is overall a very, very lighthearted series, but I wound up enjoying it, and I'm giving this one 4 stars. And then the last book that I finished was one that I bought recently, which is why I read it, was Smash It by Francine Simone. This is an Othello retelling. I struggled a little bit with all the focus on the romance, but especially the focus on a love triangle. I really struggle with love triangles, I'll be honest. The highlight for me was definitely her as a character. I liked her as a character. I felt really, really connected with her as a character, but it also was hard for me to be in her head at points because it reminded me of my own high school, college experience, being in her head. It was friends to lovers, which is a trope that I normally like, but I think the focus on the triangle really threw me off, and it wasn't my favorite, but I did wind up giving it 3 stars. So these are the 2 books I finished in addition to Sir Philip with Love. I'm going to go start my next reading vlog, and I hope you guys like this one. Let me know in the comments what are some books you read recently. I would love to hear, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.